We're gonna play some animal songs. What's going on, y'all? Hope y'all are having a great time. Yeah. So today we're gonna react to some videos and then I'm gonna play some games because I want to. Feel like it. We just need to capitalize on that. Get small victories. So we can get that dopamine hit and build some habits. Garbage. Okay. All right, let's start this video. Let's pause the music. It just does that. It's not alive, is it? Doesn't look like it's alive. It's not moving at all. Hold on. Oh no, it did move. See the tail on the back? Plus it kind of straightened out. Yeah. So it is alive. So she just owns a snake like that and it just opened up doors. That's super concerning. Oh, okay. So I haven't actually seen the gameplay yet because I don't want to spoil it for myself. I don't want to watch any horror stuff now because I want to record it, but then I never end up recording it because I don't stream enough. But yeah, I saw somebody play this. This looks terrifying. Nope. A minty. Seeing this game, this looks like it was made by the same guy who made the oh man, it was like a year or two ago. And it was yeah, I think it's I actually think I actually saw this one pop up. Valhalla, but I never watched it. But no, there was a game and I think Jackson Corey X Kenshin. I think Corey played it. No, it wasn't this. It was like it was super realistic. And you had like a gun. This I think it was this game right here. Depart. Right. At the end of it, they end up having like he ends up doing like a whole like little Michael Jackson. Right, here's the Thriller. Here's the Thriller, right. It wouldn't surprise me if this is made by the same people who made that. In fact, this game is Depart, right? Let's see. Second. Dark Phobia Games. Guess they aren't the one who made this. But yeah, the way the animations are done and just the way everything looks reminds me of that game.
In the 1990s, an HIV drug was part of a fascinating and baffling chemical mystery. Abbott Pharmaceuticals launched ritonavir in 1996. It was life-saving. 75,000 people were on it. Magic Johnson was on it. It was a miracle drug. Until June of 1998, when a batch of the drug failed its quality control tests. If you cut a capsule open, you were supposed to get...
I'm going to make a prediction. Somebody sabotaged it or something like that because it makes more money for people to be sick. Yeah.
A gel. But instead, they were getting a white paste. So the scientists at Abbott put this paste under the microscope and saw these sharp,
like
needle-like crystals that they had never seen before. They did a bunch of chemistry and realized that these crystals...
And let me guess, those crystals give you cancer.
...were in fact the drug. This was ritonavir, but it was behaving completely differently than ever before. Now this is bad because solid crystals of ritonavir are completely useless.
Or it's going to be something like it can be made literally at home. And so they stop producing it because it's like, cool, people can just make it themselves and they make money.
Cannot dissolve in water, so they don't get into your bloodstream. So even though the crystals are chemically identical to the ritonavir of the past, they were basically not the drug anymore. And then things got much worse. After the first batch failed, that production facility could no longer make the original drug anymore. Every other batch also failed. And then things got much worse. After analyzing the crystals in the lab, that lab couldn't produce the original drug anymore either. So the company sent some scientists over to Italy, where they had another production facility, to see what the US folks were doing wrong. And that's when things got much worse. A few weeks after that visit, the Italian facility couldn't make the original drug anymore either.
Somebody is sabotaging everything. That's what's happening. Somebody's definitely sabotaging it. You go there and oh, now that's ruined too. Like, nah, somebody's doing it.
It seemed almost as if there was some sort of failure virus attaching itself to company scientists and infecting whatever lab or facility they happened to visit. It turns out that what was happening was this.
Oh, what was it? There's something that's dropping in there that's acting as a not catalyst. What was the word for it? They do it with it's like little science experiments you can buy to do. It's just like it's called like a seed crystal or something like that. Something tells me it's something they have around them that's a seed crystal that's causing that to happen.
This is charcoal. It's mostly carbon and it burns really well. You know it burns really well. I'm not going to light this on fire in my basement just to prove it to you. And recently, Joe Hansen asked if I wanted to burn a different form of carbon, a diamond. Obviously, yes. If you want to burn a bunch of diamonds, you can't just heat them up with a Bunsen burner. You also need to run a stream of pure oxygen over them while you...
First off, it's going to bother me if I see this get burned. And then two, I want to go back. Like,
heat them up with a Bunsen burner. You also need to...
Them are some... Oh my God. Look at the cameras. This is a lot of equipment. That's very expensive. Tiny diamonds, oxygen.
To run a stream of pure oxygen over them while you heat them up. So both of these are carbon, but they have extremely different properties because the carbon atoms in each of these substances are bonded to each other in completely different ways. Molecules of a drug can do the same kind of thing. The exact same molecule can form multiple different crystal structures, and that can give you different properties, solubilities, melting points, even different colors. Chemists call different crystal structures of the same molecule polymorphs. This is one polymorph of chocolate. This is another, or at least it was until it melted all over my hand. This one is better because it's shiny, it doesn't melt in my hand, and it has a satisfying snap to it. These crystals that the Abbott scientists saw under the microscope were a totally new, never-before-seen polymorph of ritonavir that the scientists called Form 2. Now, when you make a drug, you usually make it in solution, and when it is dissolved in a liquid, there's no Form 1, there's no Form 2, there's no polymorphs, none of that stuff. It is just the drug in solution. But to purify the drug, you need to get it out of solution while leaving all the stuff you don't want behind in solution. And the classic way to do that is called crystallization. This is a sodium acetate solution. It's actually a supersaturated sodium acetate solution, which means there is more sodium acetate dissolved in this water than this water can dissolve.
That means you probably heated it up and then dissolved it in it. I think if I don't remember anything chemistry.
That sounds impossible by definition, but actually,
I think could you do it by just changing the temperature? Period. I think it's warming it though, warming it, dissolving it, and then
all the
cooling.
What I did to make this was I heated
say.
up the water, which increases the amount of sodium acetate that it can dissolve. Then I dissolved that larger amount of sodium acetate in the water, and then I let it cool to room temperature so that I can do this again.
Right, which means that's kind of unstable or something like that.
Looking at here,
drop that in there, it should instantly change. Yep.
Is crystallization.
Yep.
When you add a seed crystal, you are giving the molecules in solution a surface that is already in its crystal form that they can snap to. And as more and more of them snap to it, that surface grows and grows and grows until everything that can come out of solution has. The seed crystal that you add is a specific polymorph, and molecules come out of solution by snapping to that specific polymorph. So in theory, you should get back whatever you add. Add a seed crystal of form 1, you should get back crystals of form 1. Add a seed crystal of form 2, you should get back crystals of form 2. That is how it's supposed to work, and that's mostly how it does work in chemistry. But every time the Abbott scientists tried crystallizing form 1, they always got at least some form 2. Make ritonavir in solution and evaporate off the solvent, they got form 2. Use a form 1 seed crystal to try and crystallize form 1, they still got form 2. Use your lucky Erlenmeyer flask while wearing Victory red underwear, still form 2!
I like that. That's a, what's the movie called? I've never actually seen the movie myself, but I saw this scene. And I've seen parts of the movie, which is why I abhor the idea of working in a cubicle.
But where does form 2 come from in the first place? This is a reference to the television show The Office.
No, it's not. No, it's not. Oh my God. Oh my God. No. Smashing printer. Oh, I guess it is called Office Space. Office Space, the show The Office is like a 2000s. I've never actually seen the whole thing, but The Office is different. Right, I remember this because this was, and they pulled this from a movie anyway, because there was another movie. Oh my God, and I remember seeing that. There was something else this was pulled from where it was like some guy was getting the crap beat out of him. And it's like at the end of it, he was kicking him and they had to pull him away. And right, and they did the Family Guy thing version of it too. Hold on. This right here.
Why there's pepper jam when there is no pepper jam? I swear to God, one of these days, I just kick this piece of shit out the window.
You and me both, man. I think it's lucky I'm not armed.
Piece of shit.
PC load letter? What the fuck does that mean?
Let's get to the good part. Right. I could have sworn I'm pretty sure I saw the movie at least on TV at some point. Because for those of you all who are too young, it used to be in the past that movies would just come on TV at some point. And so like you could just be watching and doing something else and like, you know, this could pop up on TV. Sonic the Hedgehog would just pop up on TV, whatever, and it would just pop because they all came on certain times. It would just come on, and it'd be like, oh, that thing is on now. And I remember seeing something like this where it was like 3 guys who were supposed to be like, I guess like gangsters or whatever, and like they were beating the crap out of somebody, kicking them on the ground, hitting them with a bat, and then it turned into right. Starts punching them. They're like, whoa, hold on. I could have sworn that that was from like a particular movie that I saw from, and this was supposed to be like playing off of that, and then they made the Family Guy version, which is playing off of that. And some tells me they probably had it in the Office as well.
Tardigrades, you know them.
Don't watch that yet.
Amazingly, it probably resulted from something called heterogeneous nucleation. This is
Okay.
a supersaturated sodium acetate solution, and you already know what happens if I add a seed crystal of sodium acetate. But what if I instead add a seed crystal of sodium chloride table salt? Let's find
Is it
out.
still working? Yeah. Ooh,
It worked! Oh
that
my
looked
God.
nice.
That was awesome. This is heterogeneous nucleation, when crystallization of chemical A is caused by a seed crystal of chemical B. Now let's try menthol. Oh, that time it really worked. That is incredible. The crystal sat on top and then it nucleated from there. Sucrose.
I can see it falling.
Nothing. This chemical is a degradation product of ritonavir, and when the Abbott scientists added it to a supersaturated solution of ritonavir, they got Form 2. That was a drum roll. So, the first crystal of Form 2 was seeded by this chemical, and then the Abbott scientists brought it back into their analysis lab. What happened next? We are not exactly sure. Maybe they ground it up in a mortar and pestle, maybe they filtered it through a Buchner funnel, maybe they did something else that would have aerosolized submicroscopic seed crystals, which might then have gotten sucked up by the HVAC system, spread throughout the entire building, and attached themselves to people's clothes, hair, and
Basically,
skin.
you've
Then,
ruined it.
when those same people
You've ruined the sterile fields.
traveled to Italy,
You ruined
maybe
it.
those seed crystals fell off into the production lines, and that's what caused the Italy plant to fail. And at that point, Abbott was stuck
So, in other words, they're just a walking bomb.
with Form 2. Because
Terrible.
it turns out that Form 2 is actually more stable than Form 1. But if that's the case, why didn't Form 2 come out of solution first? Like, why didn't the original synthesis of ritonavir produce the more stable Form 2? Well, a German chemist asked this very same question around the turn of the 20th century. Wilhelm Ostwald noticed this weird trend that the least stable polymorph would crystallize out of solution first. Energy diagram. Ritonavir in solution, two different polymorphs, Form 1, Form 2. These little humps right here, this is the activation energy. It's the energy you need to spend to get from ritonavir in solution to either polymorph. And as you can see,
If you get
the
enough, you go
activation
here
energy
or
is lower,
stay
so
here.
it's way more accessible to get to Form
But
1.
this,
And the reason
right,
for
it's
that is
easier
because
'cause of
Form 1
energy.
is closer in energy to the ritonavir in solution.
And then let me guess, adding the seed crystal or whatever it is dropping this, so it doesn't need to go as high anymore.
That is Ostwald's rule. Now here's the thing. The activation energy over here is way higher, so you could go months, years even, never getting to Form 2, even though it's more stable than Form 1, because the activation energy is so high. But, a seed crystal
Yep.
dramatically lowers the activation energy. Now, it's way lower than Form 1, so you're going to go all the way down to here. Form 2, it's the more stable form, and you are stuck with this. Once Form 2 is there. It's ready to seed any solution of ritonavir. This is not the first time that one polymorph has completely replaced another. It has happened before. In one case, scientists prepared a polymorph of a compound called benzocaine picrate. They then prepared a second polymorph by heating up the first one. After they'd prepared the second polymorph, they could no longer prepare the first one. So, they cleaned the entire lab thoroughly, destroyed all samples of the second polymorph, waited about 10 days, and then tried again. And it worked. In another case, scientists were working with a polymorph of N4-methylbenzylidine 4-methylaniline when it disappeared. They happened to be switching to a new lab a few miles away, so they hired a new student by phone, prohibited her from ever coming to their old lab or meeting anyone who had worked in their old lab, told her to buy all new glassware and try and make the old polymorph in the new lab. She successfully did. In my favorite case, scientists actually sprinkled some powder of a new polymorph onto an old one and then watched as the old one transformed into the new one within minutes. Imagine sprinkling some diamond dust on some graphite and then the
It
graphite
turns into
slowly
diamonds.
turns to diamonds. That is how crazy that is. Now, these were small, isolated incidents, but ritonavir was a big deal, especially to the 75,000 people who were on it. Could have easily been life or death for them. Now, luckily, Abbott had a liquid formulation, but that tasted terrible, so after a lot of work, Abbott finally was able to make an amorphous version of ritonavir, which is still on the market today. It's actually used as a booster for other antivirals. For example, it's in Paxlovid. Now, drug companies try and avoid this kind of situation by doing extensive polymorph screening. They try and find every possible polymorph of a compound before it goes to market. But there's never any guarantee that you find them all, so another ritonavir could happen at any time.
Arthur C. Clarke had a secret.
Okay. Let's look at this now. Tardigrades.
love and you couldn't kill one even if you tried. And believe me, we have
Infinity
tried.
bears.
Over decades of research, we have subjected tardigrades to some of the most extreme conditions imaginable. They've been shot from a gun at 900 meters per second. They've survived the coldest temperatures in the universe, being boiled at 150 degrees centigrade, subjected to pressures of 400 times that of normal atmospheric pressure. And they've been stored in a freezer for over 30 years. And then finally were left in space and blasted with cosmic radiation. And none of this seems to have phased them in the slightest. The underlying reason for why these adorable microorganisms are just such phased them in the slightest. The underlying reason for why these adorable microorganisms are just such elite survivalists comes inherent to their biology. But as of a study published last month, we finally think we know how they're doing it. And if the lessons learned from it can be adapted into our own biology, they could stop us getting diseases like cancer, survive on off-world habitats with weak or no atmospheres like the moon or Mars, enable us to travel into deep space through the universe's high levels of radiation, and maybe even let us survive cryosleep, so we can live out our true sci-fi future fantasies. Tardigrades may just be the...
I like stuff like this, but at the same time, the idea of like them using this stuff on people, my whole life has been me listening and watching stuff like this. Then it never comes to fruition. You never end up with a functional, something that can functionally be used for people.
The best survivors on the planet. But, of course, the story of how we came to know these microscopic super survivors is just as fascinating as the extremes that they've endured.
Please stop shooting us.
In 1773, German biologist Johann Goes peered into a microscope and saw something strange. Unlike other microscopic animals he studied, which preferred to swim, wriggle, or beat their oar-like flagella to move around, he saw a small, wrinkly creature making its way across a microalgae, using 8 stumpy legs, each tipped with tiny claws. With a deep sigh of German reverence and foresight into the hearts and minds of an internet generation 300 years in the future, he announced he had just discovered the water bear, a name that instantly indoctrinated this creature into a place in all of our hearts. A creature so tiny it fits in between the grooves of a fingerprint. It wasn't until 3 years later, in an act of unusually poor branding for Italians, that Abbott and biologist Lazzaro Spallanzani gave them the more official tardigrada, meaning slow walker, based on their unusual choice of moving around. In 1842, tardigrades again caught the attention of science as Louis Doyer, a French zoologist and agronomist, began to run experiments where he observed tardigrades being actively adorable in their natural environments, moist mosses and lichens. What was strange was when he accidentally underwatered the tardigrade's habitat one day, and it dried out under the warmth of the microscope lamp. He watched as the tardigrades actively slowed to a crawl, as if moving in suspended animation. He came back a few hours later and swore that his test subjects had disappeared. Panning around frantically the microenvironment, he realized it was now covered instead in small dark debris. the remains, he assumed, of the tardigrades. Repeating the experimental conditions as the second sample dried out, Doyer observed his tardigrade family slowly transform from inquisitive water bears into shriveled, desiccated balls, a phrase you should never utter on the internet. In this state, later called a ton, all movement stopped. The creatures seemed utterly dead. But when Doyer left a sample to rehydrate in the room, something remarkable happened. The tardigrades slowly stirred back to life. Something impossible for normal organisms or cells, as extreme dehydration leads to cell collapse, breaking the internal machinery of a
That is not what happens to you if you dry out.
cell, usually beyond repair. Doyer, however, found that he could keep his tardigrades suspended for between a few days up to several months, and could expose them to hot, cold, high pressure, and still reliably they would pop back to life as if nothing ever happened. In his thesis, Memoir on the Organization and Natural Relationships of Tardigrades, which sounds like a political manifesto for these tiny survivalists, Doyer documents one of the first ever cases of cryptobiosis, crypto meaning hidden, and biosis meaning life, a physiological state in which metabolic activity is reduced to an almost undetectable level, the world's smallest zombie jerky. In this state, a tardigrade's metabolism slows to as low as 0.01% of its normal rate. That's 10,000 times slower. To put that in perspective, if you usually consume 2,000 calories a day, this would represent a drop in your caloric intake to 0.2 calories. You would be capable of surviving on about 1/10 of a McDonald's fry, or about 10 grains of rice per day. But the question is, shriveling into a ton like some sort of microscopic raisin is impressive in itself, but it hardly explains how tardigrades can brush off lethal doses of radiation, extreme dehydration, or the cellular damage that should arise from ice crystals forming within their cells. What is actually happening beyond this simple transformation? Before we answer that question though, I have to quickly thank today's sponsor, who is preventing me from slowly transforming into my own ton state after so many hours at a desk each day. Sihu were kind enough to send me their latest Doro S100 ergonomic chair. Is it weird to be so excited about a chair? Yes, but I am. I really like the backrest, which can be extended for people of pretty much any height. I'm 6'2", and this is the only chair that I've ever really felt actually fits me well. It's got dual dynamic lumbar support with these two spring-mounted pieces that fit perfectly into your lower back. It also has these adjustable armrests to match the height of your desk that work great for long editing sessions, but also can then be tucked away when you don't need them anymore. It also reclines up to 135 degrees if you suddenly decide that the day is getting too much and it's time for a power nap. Check out the link in the description down below for the Sihu Doro S100 ergonomic chair, and don't forget to use my code for an extra 6% off. Thank you, Sihu, for supporting my lower back. Now, back to the video. In a 2017 study led by Thomas Boothby and his team at the University of North Carolina, researchers were determined to get to the bottom of how tardigrades were surviving in extreme temperatures and conditions that would prove fatal to basically all other forms of life on the planet. When we expose organisms to extreme environments like the vacuum of space or ultra-cold temperatures, water becomes a major problem. Water makes up 60 to 80% of most organisms, and it is the solvent that enables life's machinery to function. But at temperatures below freezing, water turns into a formidable enemy. As water freezes to ice, it expands by about 9%. If ice forms
Which explodes the cells.
inside of a cell, it can rupture the cell's membrane or damage internal cellular structures. Low temperatures can also make the lipid bilayer of the cell membrane brittle and cause breaks in DNA. As a result, nature has evolved to avoid freezing at all costs. And while we can freeze and thaw some individual cells, such as reproductive cells like eggs and sperm with minimal damage, to the disappointment of all of the Walt Disney's body is secretly frozen beneath Disneyland conspiracy theorists, unfortunately, freezing entire
That's been going around forever. I actually haven't. It's actually been a minute since I've heard that. Yes. It makes me happy to know that they're still alive.
bodies still poses
That the thing is still alive. No, if Walt Disney is still alive. Maybe.
significant challenges, except in some very rare examples. Some species have evolved antifreeze-like properties to survive. The slightly less adorable Antarctic toothfish, the snow flea, and the wood frog use natural antifreeze compounds to lower the freezing point of their bodily fluids to protect internal cellular structures. But these adaptations are limited to temperatures just below freezing, far from the extremes, and this is where tardigrades really stand apart. They didn't just survive slightly sub-zero conditions or mild dehydration. In their ton state, these microscopic creatures can survive down to temperatures as low as minus 270 degrees Celsius, a range so cold that atomic movement almost entirely halts. Researchers had previously found that as a tardigrade encounters extreme conditions, it begins preemptively to slowly dehydrate itself. This process isn't instantaneous by any means, it can take several hours, but it means that the tardigrade can lose 97% of its total water content. This significantly reduces the likelihood of ice crystals damaging cells, while also contracting the tardigrade's body to minimize its surface area and exposure to the hazardous environment. But that doesn't explain how the tardigrade doesn't then succumb to the cell collapse of extreme dehydration. Boothby and his team were intrigued by the idea that a hidden mechanism was slowly allowing these tiny water bears to cheat death. They set out to solve this puzzle, starting by examining what happens at the molecular level when tardigrades enter their ton state. To do this, they looked at the proteins being produced in these extreme conditions, and what they found was unexpected. Rather than typical proteins that fold neatly into specific shapes, they discovered a class of proteins with no fixed structure, free-floating like loose threads inside the cell. In normal conditions, these proteins seemed reasonably unremarkable, but under stress, when the tardigrade was drying out, they slowly started to transform and solidify, forming a glass-like matrix inside the tardigrade's cells. Here, the best description I can come up with is it's like dipping Han Solo in carbonite. Protein damage occurs normally within a cell due to denaturing, either when the cell is too hot, too cold, or too mechanically stressed. Protein structures break and then don't go back together. This is what's happening, for example, when you fry an egg. The nicely coiled natural proteins break and unravel, so are no longer ordered and transparent, and instead start to scatter light in all directions, appearing white. These newly discovered proteins in the tardigrade cell, now called tardigrade-specific intrinsically disordered proteins, or TDPs, which I find particularly catchy, this process, combined with a then later discovered cytoplasmic abundant heat-soluble, or CASH protein, discovered later in 2021, formed a further protective gel-like network, preventing the mechanical stress of dehydration or extreme temperature from breaking the general proteins within tardigrade cells. In order to prove their theory that this is how the tardigrade was gleaning some level of extreme environment resistance, Boothby and his team wanted to see if TDPs were truly the key to tardigrade survival. Boothby and his team took the genes responsible for producing these proteins and inserted them into other organisms, specifically yeast and bacteria. These organisms, which normally cannot survive desiccation, were suddenly able to endure extreme drying, just like the tardigrades. The TDPs worked the same way in these foreign organisms, creating that protective glass-like shield, and proving that these proteins were a key component of the tardigrade's arsenal. But that wasn't the end of the story. While TDPs safeguard cellular structures, they cannot prevent the ionizing effect of radiation from breaking DNA strands. The median lethal dose, or LD50, is approximately 0.6 to 0.9 grays for mice.
Okay. I am losing interest. Let's see. I may come back to this later. But right now, I'm done. I kind of want to play. Fear and Hunger. I think Fear and Hunger. I'm gonna play on my own. I don't know. Might play Goat Simulator 3. Hmm. You know what? That will still not happen. Give me a break though, cause no, I'm gonna play a game. I need to stop being, yeah, just just knock it out, just knock it out. But I need to take a second to just to get up, move around, flowing. Rest for a quick second. So I will see you all in a minute, and I kind of want to change to the gray back screen, but I'm not going to. I'm gonna leave y'all here. So y'all can, yeah, play some music while I'm gone. Okay, I'm back. What's good? Hey, buddy. Up here. Go. Okay, Leo. Ready to get down? No. Yeah. Not need trying to. Okay, Leo. Get down. Get down. Okay, so he is not ready to get down yet. He is still wanting to stay here. Okay, so we will keep no. Okay, Leo. Hey. Hey, buddy. Hey. Come on. Hey, you wanna get down? Up. Got you. Put you down. Okay. Okay. Let us return to what we were doing.
It's about 2.5 to 4.5 grays for human beings. If a human is exposed to a dose of approximately 50 grays, even for a short time, this causes severe convulsions and death within just 5 days. It was found that tardigrades can survive not just 50 grays, but up to 4,000 grays, without any meaningful sign of degradation. In 2024, a team of researchers, again at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, this time led by biologist Bob Goldstein, ran a study to discover how tardigrade cells could survive such extreme radiation damage. The team chose a specific tardigrade called the Hypsibius exemplaris, which sounds like it could be straight out of Harry Potter, for their experiment, a model organism known for its resilience, but like all life forms, still susceptible to DNA damage from gamma radiation. The first phase of the experiment involves subjecting the tardigrades in their ton states to intense doses of gamma rays, far beyond what would be lethal to humans. The team then used advanced genomic sequencing and proteomics to study what happens at the molecular level as soon as this damage occurs. And they discovered again something uniquely remarkable about tardigrades. Instead of simply weathering the radiation and then killing off the damaged cells like our bodies do, radiation exposure to the cell appeared to trigger the tardigrades to activate hundreds of genes responsible for flooding the tardigrades' bodies with DNA repair and protection proteins. During their analysis, 2 key proteins in particular stood out. DSUP, a damage-suppressing protein, was found to bind directly to DNA strands and wrap around them and act as a sacrificial barrier to protect the DNA from radiation damage. In populations where DSUP was expressed, they were found to have significantly reduced rates of double-stranded breaks. The other protein of interest was TRD1, a newly discovered protein. While DSUP helps prevent damage, TRD1 plays a role in stabilizing chromosomes even when they begin to fray under radiation stress. This protein acts essentially like a molecular glue, temporarily rebinding the chromosomes together long enough for normal repair processes to take place. In order to test whether this unique tardigrade ability could be harnessed for human use, the researchers introduced the TRD1 protein into human cells. Researcher Kunida Takehazu and his team from the University of Tokyo engineered cultured human embryonic kidney cells to express the DSUP and TRD1 proteins, and subjected them to radiation. When compared against controls, these cells had higher survival rates when exposed to X-rays, exhibiting 40% less X-ray induced damage to their DNA. What is a strange question worth asking ourselves here is why? Why do tardigrades go to such extreme genetic lengths to survive such extreme environments? The ancestral environment theory suggests that tardigrades' ancestors may have lived in more extreme environments than their present-day counterparts, and the ability to survive harsh conditions may have been retained as an ancestral trait. For example, in Earth's early history, conditions were much more volatile, with extreme and frequent fluctuations in temperature, radiation exposure, and water availability. But why would this survival capability be pushed to also work in places like the vacuum of space or at the coldest temperatures in the universe? To me, this feels more like an unexpected outcome rather than an evolutionary adaptation. The evolutionary byproduct theory suggests that tardigrades' extreme resilience may have evolved as an accidental byproduct of other, more common stressors. For instance, desiccation tolerance is really useful if you happen to live in a moss or lichen environment, because these exhibit poor water retention, so frequently dry out, then rehydrate, maybe many times per day. The same mechanism that allows tardigrades to survive desiccation, like the production of the tardigrade-specific intrinsically disordered proteins, or TDPs, I really wanted to just say it one more time in this video, and other molecular defenses, are incidentally the exact same sort of protection mechanisms needed for surviving ultra-cold environments. These dehydrating and rehydrating processes still likely cause DNA damage, so the evolution of a rapid repair mechanism that is frequently activated to repair desiccation damage makes sense to evolve, and inadvertently makes them incredibly good at repairing damage from radiation exposure. Some people just think tardigrades came from space, which I can kind of understand, but I'm disappointed they didn't come with cooler gadgets. I suppose, though, what they could teach us may actually unlock the future of human exploration and survival. As we set out to explore extraterrestrial environments, tardigrades could become a key ally in our journey, with NASA's planned Artemis missions to establish a base on the moon and then deep space beyond that. These environments, lacking the protective atmosphere of Earth, expose astronauts to cosmic radiation, which is a significant risk to DNA damage over time, possibly limiting or maybe even preventing our long-term survival in space. We quite recently covered a technology being developed by NASA that could be the very first real-life force field capable of deflecting radiation away from habitation zones or crew quarters on deep space missions. But this would limit astronauts to only short excursions outside of these habitats. A far future-looking solution might be to engineer tardigrades' TRD1 ability into our own genes, thus upregulate existing repair mechanisms within our own bodies so that DNA damage could be quickly.
That probably will end up having some type of effect down the line that is detrimental, because generally there's a reason why, you know, you haven't just, the human beings haven't just naturally developed some of these, because normally there's trade-offs for everything. So it might be that, like, for example, like cancer cells live way longer because it's like can't break them down. It just kind of protects them. And so, like, they already are, you know, multiplying and not growing and not stopping, and now you have this protecting them, so there's like no way to get rid of them.
Repaired. That feels like a very long way away, but with the experiments out of the University of Tokyo, we see that it is actually on the horizon of things worth exploring. That obviously might be a fair distance in the future, but there are also some shorter-term wins being explored. In a somewhat horrifying 2020 paper, researchers discovered a new species of tardigrade that was capable of surviving intense doses of ultraviolet radiation. When they investigated further, they found that the tardigrade was actually fluorescing, absorbing shorter UV wavelengths and emitting longer ones, protecting their cells from radiation damage in the process. In a slightly disturbing twist, the researchers then ground up the tardigrade tardigrades and applied the tardigrade paste to small worms. With the paste applied, the worms were then able to tolerate much higher doses of UV radiation. Could this be developed into a tardigrade sunscreen coming to a store near you sometime soon? Hopefully not, but maybe a synthetic version could be a bit more wholesome and effective. Where I've seen the most interesting work, though, is in applying the tardigrade unique proteins like TDPs and Cash proteins to prevent damage to things like organs as they're being transplanted between patients, and even things like life-saving medicines. Many medicines, from things like insulin for diabetics to cold and flu vaccines, need to be constantly kept cold so they don't break down. This isn't really too hard in developed countries, but is a nightmare if, say, you want to get a medicine to a remote village, or to maybe carry something like a snakebite antivenom kit with you while you go hiking through the woods. Researchers out of the University of Wyoming are working to improve the thermal stability of several medicines, using the unique tardigrade proteins to protect these medicines in the same glassy gel-like state that prevents damage to tardigrade cells. Tardigrades hold a special place in our hearts, but they also hold a special place in science, and potentially a special place in building us a healthier future. I love stories like this and understanding how we might take better inspiration from things around us. There was a ton of stuff that I didn't cover, like how tardigrade eggs are spiky, which is kind of horrifying.
They have
If you like
eggs.
this video and would like to support us, consider joining the Patreon. Tardigrade eggs are spiky, which is
That's gross. They have eggs.
kind of horrifying. If you like this video and would like to support us, consider joining the Patreon or joining the channel here or leaving us a like or a comment. You might also like a video that we did recently on bats, who also refused to die, but for a totally different set of reasons.
I actually was just about to watch that. It's over here, right? I actually really want to watch this video too, but that's cheating. He's too big. He shouldn't be doing this. No. We be done right after that.
Look, man, me and you, we're the dynamic duo. We could take over the world if we wanted. Thank you so much for walking into my life. I didn't know who I was without you. I got food in your bowl. Please, love. Look, man, me and you, we're the dynamic duo. We could take over the world if we wanted. Thank you so much for walking into my
Hold on a minute. a no. Okay.
What's up, guys? Again, it's your boy Milo Swag with another episode of the Miloverse podcast. Today's special guest is a woman. Wave into the
It's
camera,
a woman. She doesn't have a name. It's just a woman.
We also have well-known and highly
Waving
regarded
to the
female
camera.
scientist, Professor Milo. Good day to you, listeners. So let's start with a question I have. This one actually is for the female. No offense, Professor. None taken.
Jesus.
How do you
Actually,
lick
my name's-
pussy? I am aware that there are many videos online, but I've developed my own technique. I don't want to brag, but I truly believe that my way is the most arousing one out there. Let me demonstrate.
Arousing. Oh,
Important is that you only move the tongue. Too often do I see amateurs moving their head like the tail of a rattlesnake. But for maximum satisfaction, it is of utmost importance that you keep your head still. You don't seem aroused at all, miss. Even after my graphic showcase just now. Why is that?
Well, first off, you...
Nah. This question was actually for Professor Milo. Professor? Well, no offense, Milo Swag, but the uneducated eye will of course perceive
watched
this
this
woman as
before?
a pretty girl. I won't sit here and lie. She is very smashable indeed, yet upon closer inspection you'll find that this woman has fallen victim to what many women these days suffer from. That is being a hysterical, annoying little bitch. My
Jesus Christ.
college years are long gone, but if I recall it correctly, which I usually do, the scientific word used is feminism. Hysterical little bitch? Really?
Jesus Christ, boy.
What?
Oh, I see it now. Hey, you better get your filthy feminist fingers off of me, woman. You don't want me to knock you out, do you?
Try me!
Looks like we'll have to settle this the old-fashioned way. But first, a little ad break.
Huh?
Beat her ass, Professor. Show all those pathetic girls out there that men are stronger than them. So strong that you, with zero previous training, will be able to beat a professional boxer. Professional what? Calm down. There's a reason it's called
Right,
women's
he's like-
boxing and not
He
boxing.
said, "Wait, hold on, wait, what?"
This
Yeah,
is
she
a piece of cake. Get her,
Okay, bro.
tiger. Take this, bitch!
Yup. Hadouken. No, Shoryuken.
Oh, Professor.
What was it? Hadouken, Shoryuken, Tatsumaki or something like that. With the spinning kick. Okay, let me see here. What do I want to play? You know what? I now want to do the final boss. Of Dave the Diver. That's what I want. And that's what we're going to do. Okay. I literally just need to go down there and finish it off, but I haven't been because like I'm just gonna stay up here and skip time and cook stuff real quick. I don't even remember what I was doing here, but hold on, update on my stream. So all of this. This is all 4 streams, so I will have all of these have been updated now. This one, this one, and that one. Hold on, this one. I'm just gonna trust that Kick is still live. Okay. Let's just make whatever this is right now. This is the lobster one, so that's not what. That's not what. I think it was 40 something. I think 48. Right. And then if we go over to here, there has to be a better way to add ingredients for particular dishes. It seems like I just send over the ingredients. I can't choose it by dish, which is terrible. Because what was the stuff for this? Clown frogfish, red brain rhino fish, which is what its name should be forever. Clown, where's Clown? You know what? I don't care this much. I don't care that much. Open Bancho Sushi. Cause I'm done. This is my last thing in the game. It's just go fight that boss. Yep, I realize y'all have no food. They apparently got something. Oh, now they're out. Yep. I don't really care to, like I said, stock the rest of this stuff anymore and doing that. Just really. So, like I said, I'm about to be done with this game. I'm about to wipe this out. And then this is gonna be wipeout day. Farming report. Farm. What? Not doing none of that. Done. Gonna go fight a boss. So, right, I was in the middle of making all these different. Need this. Max harpoon gun. Increases dash speed. Increase damage for harpoon gun. Actually, just in case I get to a position where I don't have any more bullets, we're gonna go ahead and do that. Glacial area. Yeah, we're gonna just waste this day. Like I said, I'm pretty much done with this game. This was a great game for the time period that it was. I enjoyed it. This was but 100% I'm with this now. Or maybe I won't be done with it once I beat the final boss. I don't know. Well, it'll depend on what's down here. So I broke this little open here. Let's just try to avoid the dunk. Still, the dunk is the worst thing. It's not the worst. I can get it. Soon I'm just going straight to it. If it's actually a place to explore, I'm gonna be kind of. Man. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm supposed to put the little thing. Come here. Bring yourself. Before I run out of the good air. Stay here and don't run away. Oh, and then it's gonna run me up and lock me inside like a butt. You better stop, bro. If you don't get back, I gotta use you, don't I? Bro, I'm finna die in here. What is this? Oh! Okay, so I'm supposed to actually... There we go. Die. Megalograptus. Okay, I guess I'm supposed to block off each one of these, which will make that go up. Right. But how? Wait a minute. How? Okay, so hold on. There we go. Okay. Guess these get stuck there too, cause they. Tada. Let's go. That's a candy of some kind. Oh yeah, this is gonna be the thing with the turtle. Can very obviously go. Take it out. Okay. That's for good. Let's see. Y'all can't see nothing. So. See there. I think yeah, so that shouldn't cover it. I mean, yeah, I don't really have an option right now. I didn't got a way to refill my health. Get all of them. Oh joy. I'm finna die. He's floating back. He's like, Looks like the creature known as Yao, ancient beast from legends, still alive, and it's massively bigger. Sea People Elder told me about some old experiment. Must have absorbed the divine tree and the geothermal energy to get this big. We have to defeat it to stabilize the divine tree. Dave, I'm counting on you. What? How can I possibly defeat such a huge ancient creature? You took down a dinosaur just a moment ago. When did I fight a dinosaur? That's a different situation. I don't even have any weapons or bullets now. Yes, I do. Isn't the weapon right there? Huh? What are you talking about? I told you, this drone has all kind of hidden features. I knew this day would come, but it was a bit sooner than expected. I'll input the activation code for the drone's attack mode. Ooh. This drone can maintain oxygen levels, fire unlimited bullets, and even manipulate time. Yes, if you press this, you can temporarily manipulate time. It should give you some time to dodge attacks. Of course, you need to quit. This is all the help I can give right now. I hope we won't be saying our final goodbyes. See you again, eternity. Again, eternity. Can't just run away now. Not after getting this far. Alright, let's deal with this. Oh. Whoa, whoa, whoa. So we're just gonna turn to a bullet here. Need to hold fire while continually dodging. Yep, so I should shoot those down. I was going to ignore them. Oh, it's just homing babies. Okay. Didn't want to go this far, but let's unlock them. Why were you right? Why did you do that? Why didn't you do that from the start, bro? Who brings up the trump card right at the beginning of a game? Just watch this. I call this stellar laser, superpowered laser combining all our tech. Never thought we'd use it in the water. Pay attention. If you hold X, you can gather stellar energy. They go over the wind of fire. Easy, right? But keep in mind that you'll move slower while charging, so be careful. Charging fire level. Great. Let's finish with this. I'm finna die. There's only one more. Music better change them. Thanks. Come on, let's survive one more phase. Can I get some refill on my health, please? Get some of that air. I need it. It's probably best if I can get some. What the hell? And I'm dead. Please don't start from the beginning. Just let me do the start from. Yes. Bro, how many hits this thing gonna take? Okay, Jesus. Okay, it's starting to slow down now. Don't leave that. What to say? It's mo- Dodge. The drone system malfunctioning. Can't pick up the weapon signal. What should I do? Is there anything useful around here? There's a huge divine treat fruit device over here. The divine treat fruit seems to be have returned to normal. What if I put it in there? No, it's too big. I can't bounce and move and aim it all on myself. The sea people have come to help. Can't let me fight alone this time, huh? Are you alright, human? Sea people came down because you didn't come. Even though the divine tree was stabilized. Is that Yahweh? Has it grown that big over this long period of time? Seems like we need to beat that creature to us. This is our chance. What? Let's tie it up. Let's finish it off. That won't be enough unless we use the divine tree device. Give them expertise in both physics and math. It seems like we need to just angle the device upwards. Well, that might work, but it looks incredibly heavy. It will help. If 5 of us combine our strength, we can do something. Bring the divine tree food and put it in. There's no time. Not do this multiple times. Only had to do it. Creature hunter defeated all bosses. Only had to do it once. And now I get to take some of it to cook. My aim was precise. It won't recover from this state. This has really been incredible. You did a great job, human. Let's go back to the Sea People village and talk. I couldn't get some stuff to make food first. Epilogue, friends. The epilogue. Megalograptus. It literally won't let me bring up my phone. So my little thing that I'm taking care of is going to die. Joy, thank you. Hey there, Dave. You're finally back. Oh, everyone's gathered here. You're from Dr. Beacon. You've accomplished a lot. You did a good job. How about we all relax in and enjoy some food together? Whoa, awesome. I was worried I might have to get right back to work. Great, we should all celebrate together.
Yeah.
It's been a while, Bancho Sushi. How are you, Sammy? Are you enjoying your life here? You know it. There are times when I get a bit bored, but it was so incredibly inspiring, yo. The new song that I recently released, Farmer Daddy, online has been getting great feedback, you know. So you're still making music, huh? For sure. The sound of a hoe hitting the ground, the clunking of a hen, it's all just one big beat to me, yo. Why didn't he come in person? Because I'm waiting for an important parcel today. I have been inspired from afar by your bravery, Dave. Where you fought tirelessly to save the CP village. If you were a beautiful girl, I might have joined your fandom. I'll pour all my energy into weapon research to prepare for any upcoming crisis. As your colleague, I'm counting on your continued efforts to unlock more weapons. I know it goes on after you. Ha ha ha, true feast. You're always so busy, we've hardly had the time to chat. Now that things are calmer, I'll have plenty of time to share with you some of the stories. Sir, back in my day.
So that's you. Oh, yeah. That's you. Come in, you.
Yeah.
Right, I still can't go in there to do it. Now let's talk to Bancho. I'm sorry I couldn't be of much help. I was busy with the shop. What are you talking about, Bancho? The sea people loved your cooking. If that's the case, I'm glad. Now there are no more earthquakes. Let's get to work. It was a lot tougher than I thought, but I met a lot of nice people. Looking back, it was a funny adventure. I never would have visited a place like the Sea People Village in my life where I give it. Okay, let's relax and go for another exciting. This was an excellent game.
Yeah.
He's sitting there still looking scared. Terrible. Terrible. What? 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 I'm an astronaut and what do you mean score? Stay with the ship. Don't lose the ship. Developer. Oh wait, I can shoot the developer. Can't let the developers escape. Soon this is gonna be a little mini game I can play afterward. Is this game made almost purely in, looks like Korea? I see nothing, almost nothing but No, there's one more. I guess that's the Godzilla stuff that I will never get to play because they took it away, or I could get the game. Calamitous Labyrinth. Calamitous Labyrinth. The imprisoned ancient. Together are cheers for the sea. Galaxy Ocean. Renka. Food. I could have sworn that at certain times giving the snacks gave it 2 hearts. But... Okay. I believe that would be just about all for tonight. I'm just finishing up looking at stuff. Got way too much of this. I'm still holding too many of these things, so Titan Triggerfish, kind of want to keep these for the upcoming thing. I did already pass. I don't know. I'm not gonna play it no more after this anyway, but this is a Marlin because it's so big. You know what? I will come back here in a second. But yeah, it's gonna be time. Sleep tonight. Farm real quick. Just want to collect stuff. Bonus. The bonuses are more than what I'm regularly picking up. That's crazy. What do you got? Man, quick, see what you got. Fill back up some of that fertilizer. Let's go back to the fish. This one should be fine. Both of these are. Tapia field denses, tons of those. The Dunkleosis is taking up a lot of space out. Really, I don't want any of them in the red, so I might drop some off of that as well. But let's hit this one next. And I've already maxed all of it, or I think I maxed all of them. Might only be like the two that I don't have anything in. Need to be maxed. %. I think it's this. I want to let as many of those stay in here possible. Well, it was one particular dish I wanted to make, but I don't even know if I can make it. Okay. Hold on, talk to you because I'm pretty sure I maxed everything here. Okay, so that's going to be the end of it for the y'all had a great night tonight. Or props. Yeah, I'm not doing it. hope y'all had a great night tonight. And I hope you all enjoyed it. Enjoyed the last of that game. I know I didn't play the rest of it on here for you all, but regardless, it had been pretty fun. It was a decent final boss battle. I think they actually kind of made it worse when they started making it so that the guns weren't your main weapon, because then at that point you start to be guaranteed a way to fight. And I think a lot of the excitement of the boss fights came from the fact that you had to go in with a weapon and you had to worry about how much ammo you had, because if you ran out of ammo, harpoon was not that good. But by the end of it, I had upgraded it pretty far anyway. So yeah, we all had a great time. If you all did, make sure you check out all my different sites: YouTube, my Twitch, my Kick, my Instagram, my TikTok. Check that out, because if I can get enough followers on there, I can get streaming on there. But yeah. And yeah, that's really all I got to say to y'all. Make sure y'all follow everywhere. Make sure y'all like, subscribe, all of that. And I hope y'all have a great night. I will see you all tomorrow. Peace.